Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first animation scene which we are going to be making inside of Premiere Pro. So if you guys have went through animation placement theory, if you went through animation theory, if you went through color theory, rule of rarity, and you now understand how you can tie them all together, it's finally time to create a few simple and cool animations for this Premiere Pro sequence. So with this being said, let's go ahead and dive right in and make this absolutely amazing. So the first thing we need to look at is the clip which we are going to be animating, and this specifically is the clip which we are going to be animating. It's this small section here where I say sample video is where I speak. Let me quickly play it through you guys for the beginning. Sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. So the reason I'm not doing an animation for the intro is because I just want the intro to show this is a sample video. And then I get into explaining the sample video. Video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. So I say two things here, okay? And the first question I'm going to ask you guys is, what does the viewer need to understand here? What I'm saying is a sample video, this object, a sample video is where I speak and take pauses. So I've got the sample video which I'm showing them and I have a definition for it. So what does the viewer need to understand from this clip? The viewer needs to understand what a sample video is. And my definition for it is a sample video is a video where I speak and sometimes take pauses. Now, just because I have so much creative inspiration in my mind, I have watched so many edits. Just because I have done this, I have such a big library right now in my mind that I can start applying. You guys probably don't, just because you just got into editing, which is totally fine, by the way. So what you guys are probably going to be struggling with right now is, okay, how do I come up with some kind of animation that shows this? Whereas for me, I just already came up with it. And how exactly do you guys get to this position where you can instantly come up with it on your mind? You have to build your creative library. So you have to start watching a lot of creative content, a lot of content that you really enjoy and get inspired by, and start learning from them. So let's go ahead and create a cool animation for this. The first question, what does the viewer need to see from this video? From this clip, he needs to understand that a sample video equals something that I record and I take pauses in. Okay, awesome. How are we going to show this? When I think of my placement theory and I want to show two objects, I instantly think of using my left pole, right? Or my left, what do we call it? Let me just quickly show the guys so you can, yeah. So my left 2 points over here, my left side and my right side. My left side has to have my object of definition, so my sample video, and my right side has to have a definition of what it is. And so for this reason, I have a pretty creative and smart idea that we could do for this video. And for this clip, sorry, and let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a background, and this is the first step. And first of all, let's choose the colors that we're going to be going with. So the first idea is, what kind of colors do I want to go with? The colors I'm going with is blue for this entire edit. So let's go ahead and create something related to blue. Let's create a quick background with blue. To do this, I'm going to select my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to basically like draw out a rectangle like this. I'm going to slightly make it bigger, like that, okay, just so that it takes up the screen. And I'm just going to use darker color for the background and lighter color for the foreground. And I hope that looks good. We can go lighter color background and darker color foreground, but I think darker background is going to look a lot better. So I'm going to go down to my shape layer, click on fill, and just go with a really dark blue. And remember, don't take perfect colors, go with a more grayed out, darkish blue like this. And that just looks pretty awesome to me. Yeah, so if we just hide these guides, we can see this. Now, if you guys want these guides so that you can start making this as well, okay, this is how it works. When you click on your wrench tool, you open up a bunch of tools you can use. You show your rulers, and your rulers are basically lines you can add to your scene. And you just add one, you like check out your half, and then you just go like slightly below that, and you have a third, and then you just do the upper third here, and then just try and like make them the same length. Basically, that's it. That's for your upper and lower third, like that. And then for the sides, you also just do the same thing. So half, and then you go third, and then you just go third, like so. Awesome, and you just get that 3x3 grid, which we were talking about. So with this being said, now what do I want to add inside my animation? So since this is my background, I'm just going to leave it over here. To spice up my background, I can do one more thing. I can also add a vignette. To add a vignette, I just need to add a effect called lumetri color, I believe. And if I add my lumetri color effect to this, I can go down to where, there it is, inside of my effects. There's a vignette. Click on my vignette and increase the amount. And you guys can see it goes white. If I decrease the amount, it goes black. So I'm just going to add a very light vignette. Remember, the rule of rarity, don't go harsh on these effects. Just minus 0.1 is good. There we go. Now the idea I have is, because I want to showcase my sample video on the left side and a definition of what it is on the right side for this first animation, I'm just going to put my current video, this one right here, I'm going to remove the transform effect that I've got on it, which is the zoom out, and I'm just going to go ahead and scale it down and place it on the left side like so, which is my sample video. So I'm just going to place it right in between those two points which we created, and I just only wanted to take up the left half of the screen like this. The video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. There we go. And then the second part is just going to be a description of what a sample video is. So I'm going to go and delete these captions because we're no longer going to use them, right? Because we're making a cool animation instead. So let's just go ahead and bring these things back and just make sure that this whole thing fits over here pretty well. The video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. Sometimes I'm okay, awesome. Let's just fix this, make sure it's all correct. It's good. Okay, awesome. This is a sample video. Sample video is where, and then over here I am basically speaking. Okay, awesome. So we've got my sample video on the left side. Now I just want to add some text. So I'm going to quickly duplicate my text style, which I had over here, and move it over here. And then as you guys remember, the placement theory, I'm going to move my text now over to the top right over here. And now I'm going to make the title sample video. I'm going to have 2 columns like this, and then I'm going to dupe, or just kind of leave it in the same layer. Just kind of click on enter and then start typing out a description. Let's start typing out what I said, which is a sample video is a video. Let's do our paragraph where I speak and take pauses like this. Okay, and so with this being said, our text box is too small, so we can't see the rest of it. So we just select our cursor, select this, and then just extend it like that. And then the second thing we're going to do is make this thing a lot smaller like this. And now I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to make the bottom font a light thin font instead of heavy. And that's just because it's going to look a lot better as a bio. Usually bios are thinner fonts. As you guys can see, there's too much space in between our lines. So if you guys remember correctly from the text episode that we had, if you want to drop the space between the lines, you just select them. Double click, basically select the whole thing like this, and then you just go over to here and you just shrink this like this until we get a cool effect like that. And then let's go and scale this down until it fits on our right side like so. And there we go. Now it is too big, so the place where I say where I speak and take pauses like this, I'm gonna just add a paragraph before pauses and then just remove this paragraph here just because it is way too big. And awesome. Now I can place the sample video on the right side over here and my actual sample video example on the left side over here, and we are good to go. And if we check out this simple animation, let's just go ahead and remove that transform effect, and we are good to go. The video is where I speak and I take a few. So placement is good. Coloring is good. We have a light color in the foreground and a dark color in the background, and we didn't use the blue. We actually used a light white, which is okay. We can always just, change this to a light blue by just doing this. It is really that simple. And also the glow is way too harsh, so I'm definitely going to increase that radius as we mentioned and drop that intensity to 1.5. That's just going to be a lot better. And there we go. We have sample videos, a sample video where I speak and take pauses like this. Now it's finally time to animate it. One way I can animate this and bring this to life is I can have them both come, one from the left and one from the right side. And so the best way to do this is to add in your transform effect. We're going to animate my clip moving in from the left side and my text moving in from the right side. So if you guys are following along, let's add a transform effect to my text over here, and just make sure you guys are following along in this part. Let's find our transform effect in our effect controls panel right here. And you guys can see we can control the position. So we're going to add a keyframe for the position, for the current position. And we're currently, our playhead's over here. So I want it to start here and then move into frame somewhere around here. So I'm going to put that keyframe here. I'm going to move my playhead back, and so that this way I can have my first keyframe start back here. Now it's just going to animate its way in like this. Now we're just going to bring this down, and remember the start quick and then slow down spike. Let's go ahead and do this. Start quick and slow down. And we're going to get this, and then I'm just going to increase the shutter angle so that we have some motion blur. Video is where I speak. I'm just going to extend this a bit more because it's too fast. Video is where I speak. Awesome. And then the same thing for this one. I'm just going to basically, I could have copied and added my transform effect, but we're going to do this one more time. So add the transform effect, move our playhead to somewhere around here, which is the final position, which is where we're going to be keyframing it over here, and just have it start off screen on the left side like so. Okay, and this way it's going to move in like that. Now let's just go ahead and make sure it starts quick and then slows down by dropping this down to the bottom like this. The sample video is where I speak. And then that looks pretty solid, and let's just add in some motion blur and we should be good to go. The sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. There we go. Awesome. Check this out. This is a sample video. Sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. Now to spice this thing up, to make it look a bit better, I'm going to add a drop shadow to it. You guys remember this is one of the visual effects that you can add to make things look really good. And I'm just going to hide my guides real quick, and I'm just going to Go down to my drop shadow, increase the opacity, increase the distance just a bit, and then just add some softness so that it's visible from where I am right now. And that looks pretty good. Awesome. The video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. There we go. Amazing. And that looks as good as it's going to get, honestly. That's a simple and quick animation that you can create to showcase two scenes. And there we go, guys. All that we used is the transform effect, the placement theory, the color theory, and just a text style. And you guys already make some really solid animations inside of Premiere Pro. Let's go ahead and move on to our next scene in the next course. I will see you guys there.